Hello, adventurers. How you guys doing? First, please let me apologize for the way I sound. I am battling fall allergies, but please stick with me as I try to be cheerful for this very serious topic that I want to discuss with you today. And that is how can women keep themselves safe in phonogamous relationships, and specifically married women, as I believe that they're the only people who qualify for a potential phonogamous relationship. The term phonogamy is one that I believe Kabina Graham coined because I'd never heard it until I saw it used on an article that he wrote for The Guardian, which is entitled Sex, Phonogamy, and the Married Man. In his introduction, he says, a relative recently explained to me how much more sex he's been having since getting married. When I congratulated him for disproving the stereotype of the post-marital sex drought, he admitted without wincing that his supply was extracurricular. In modern day majority Christian Ghana, the polygamy our ancestors accepted is no longer common, but to say that Ghana celebrates monogamy is not quite true either. And then he goes on to define phonogamy by explaining that cheating on one's partner happens in every society, but in a phonogamous system, having a little something on the side is de rigueur, and sanctions for cheating are scarce. Polygamy came with an obligation to provide for all of your wives, but phonogamy presents male self discipline, and even loyalty as a myth, encouraging us to sleep with several women without taking responsibility for any of them. All we have to do is make enough money to make it worth their while. And this is a topic that I think that needs to be discussed broadly because of the way that we view marriage in Ghana. And I want to specifically talk about Ghana because I haven't lived in all the parts of Africa. I don't know how marriage is viewed in, Egypt or Morocco or South Africa or Tanzania, although I'm sure that there are some similarities. But phonogamy in Ghana is definitely now a systematic way of conducting marriage, which is to say that men are expected to be serial adulterers, and everyone should be okay with that because it's a man. That's what men do. So why is marriage so important in our culture? I know that for a lot of women in many parts of our society, marriage is seen as a woman's ultimate achievement. So she's not a woman until she's been married and or has had children. And this is what we define as the marker of the ultimate woman. And I believe it's because it's a blending of our religions and our tradition. Marriage in Ghana is almost, first of all, marriage is the only industry in Ghana. The wedding industry rakes in millions and millions of CDs every year because it's really our only industry. Pastors make so much money off of marriage conferences, and they're all aimed at women to either one stay faithful in their marriages without addressing men's fidelity in their marriage, or making women hunger and thirst after marriage because in the sight of our Ghanaian God, marriage is the only thing that matters if you're a woman. But because we don't discuss missions for our marriage, what is the goal of our marriage? A lot of people just get married because it's the next thing that they're supposed to do. And because we also don't hold Ghanaian men to account for their actions, then this leads to this system of phonogamy. And in phonogamous relationship, the person most at risk, I believe, is the faithful married woman. And there's a lot of research out there to support that. You can Google it, and I think I'll put some links in the comment on the blog for you to go to. Recently, our two friends over at Rambling Roomies, Ama and Ifua, did a little experiment. They decided to ask a man out on a date so that they can be on the other side of the table to see what it's like to gather up the courage to ask another person out on a date and be the responsible party for that. And I believe it was Ama who was the only person that actually conducted the experiment. I think Ifua either backed out or didn't have time. And in her experiment, on the 4 dates that she went out on, 4 of these men, unbeknownst to her, were married. So she's thinking that she's, hooked up with a nice guy who's just, intelligent, good conversation. And during the course of the date, discovers that all four of these men are married. And this is a precarious situation. So imagine if, this wasn't just an experiment. Imagine if, she was going and looking for a serious relationship. She would, unbeknownst to her, be in a relationship with a married man who, it only stands to reason, has done this on several occasions because we live in a Fauxnogamous society. So my question that I asked online on social media was, how can married women keep themselves safe in Fauxnogamous relationships? Because it's something that I think that we really need to spend a lot of time talking about, because it's not fair to these women who end up with STDs, who have resources diverted from their home because their husband is out spending money on, children that he's had outside of their marriage, all the extra drama and the emotional pressure of knowing that your husband is out there. So how do these women keep themselves safe? So this is very unscientific. I went to Twitter and I asked the question: you know your husband is cheating, but you choose to stay, either for the kids, for religion, or because of societal pressures. What can married women do to keep themselves safe in a Fauxnogamous relationship? I love this response. This is from Ingor. She said, and my question was about condom use. How do you negotiate condom use in your marriage? And she says, condom use, you tell him nicely to kindly shift that dirty dick away from me, which I love. And the reason that I asked about condom use in a marriage in which you know your spouse is cheating is because you as a woman should have the right to protect yourself if you're going to stay in that marriage. When you're a single woman, it's far easier to negotiate condom use. You have all kinds of reasons. We're not married, number one. I don't want to have a child right now, number two. And then there's also that little expectation that, okay, this person could potentially be sleeping with other people. But when you're married, you made a vow that you would be faithful and true to your partner. So, even the conversation itself becomes awkward. So why do you want to use a condom? Do you suspect I'm cheating? Why should I have to use a condom with my wife? The man knows he's cheating. You know he's cheating. But then the accusation of him cheating then somehow becomes worse than his actual cheating. And so we've written a lot of stories on this blog about women, married women, who have had their partners bring all kinds of STDs into their marriages, because they're out there just having wanted sex with several people. And then, I want to read you a couple other tweets that people have sent, because it really hones in on the attitude that people have, particularly in our part of the world, about a man's rights almost to cheating. So, let's see. What did this guy say? He said, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, people make choices based on what their priority is. Just saying. This is B for Banter who said that. And then there's at I am Mr. Emma. Which law says if he's cheating, leave? So not even interrogating the question, why should she stay? There actually is a law if you're going by biblical application that says if your partner is cheating, you can leave, and it's adultery. So yes, there is a law. And then Mischief, and I think that she was being sarcastic here, was, you want wives of your spouses not to have husband again? That's a bit harsh. So even in her sarcasm, I think she's being sarcastic, but then she ended it with, that's a bit harsh. I don't know if Yoruba men have this reputation that, you can be a wife, but a Yoruba man is going to cheat on you. But again, how does a woman keep herself safe in a Fauxnogamous relationship? And I'm talking safety in terms of her physical health. I'm talking about safety in terms of her mental and spiritual health as well, because it is soul crushing to discover that your partner, your husband, whom you made a vow to and also made a vow to you before God and all your friends and all your family, is cheating on you wantedly. So I'd like to hear from other parts of Africa, and you guys about, number one, what your expectations within marriage in your specific cultures are, and number two, what advice would you give to women about how to either restrict sex from their husband, because it might take that, or kind of barrier methods that they can use, or even how to approach the conversation. All right, thanks for listening.